following episode may contain discussions of sensitive and potentially distressing topics, including but not limited to mental health issues, suicide, death, domestic violence, child abuse, sexual assault, physical violence, and other traumatic experiences. Viewer discretion is strongly advised. This content is intended for mature audiences and may not be suitable for all listeners. The views, opinions, and statements expressed by guests are of their own and not necessarily Burning Bridges podcast. By continuing to listen or view this episode, you acknowledge and accept that the hosts, producers, and associated parties are not liable for any distress, harm, or losses, emotional, psychological, or otherwise, that may result from the content discussed. This podcast is for informational purposes only and does not constitute professional advice, diagnosis, or treatment. If you or someone you know is in crisis and needs help now, call 000 within Australia or Lifeline on 131114 24 hours a day, 7 days a week.
Hey guys, Marcus Schultz here, owner of Breathe Health Clubs. Tune in to Burning Bridges podcast and listen to me just have a yarn.
Marcus Schultz, thank you for joining us on Burning Bridges podcast today.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, thanks for being here, Marcus. We're usually seeing each other at the gym that you own in Morayfield.
Yep.
Breathe Gym.
You like it, eh?
Hey?
You like it?
Oh, yeah. It's
Yeah,
great.
sweet. Right, cool.
Otherwise I wouldn't be there.
Yeah.
Beautiful. It's a good gym. I've been going there since you opened, so I'm I don't know what you call it, a founding member.
Pre-sale member, foundation membership. Yeah.
Foundation membership. Yeah, but it's been good. But before we get too far ahead, let's go back to the start, the beginning, where you were born, and let's start there.
Yeah.
And what your childhood was like.
I was born in Brisbane and lived in Stafford and stuff a little bit. My old man was in the army. And when he got out, moved out to Wimmera. And, my father and my mum, Simone and Matt, they divorced. And I'm an identical twin too. So, Simone took my brother and I stayed with Matt. And, I went to Wimmera for grade 1 to 3. And that's obviously when the split happened. Then I went to Tullawong for a year. And then we moved into Kalanga. Kalanga's an absolute shithole.
Is it?
No offense, Kalanga. Spent my time there. Kalanga State School. It was rough. Little again, not all aspects of was rough, but again, there were moments, you know what I mean? And again, a lady who I consider my mother as well, Crystal, again, she was young. She met my old man when she was 19 and he was 28. So she was immature and she took on that role as my mum. So again, I owe a lot to her. But in those roles, there were rough moments, right? I'm not going to go into detail on that. There were moments. But then I went to rugby league at Palm Rivers, playing bus as well. I played with Tyson Gamble. He plays for the Knights at the moment, and he's fucking killing it too. And then fell in love in bodybuilding and stuff like that. And then I dropped out in grade 11 and joined the army. Yeah, so again, that's my school life there, right?
With your childhood, do you have good memories of it?
Yeah, sometimes, yeah. Some, again, you can't say everything's bad. Life is about perspective. So there were some good moments, and there are some horrendous ones. But yeah, I can't complain too much. I'm here, I'm doing well. It made me who I am. So, and I've achieved what I've achieved, and I'm only going to be achieving more from my upbringing. So, again, I can't be too mad at it.
Did you like high school?
Academics, not really. I could have maths, but that was really about it. But again, like I said, it was just rugby and sports. I couldn't sit still. That was my thing. Unless I was hyper-focused on something like that, then I could sit still, but then you couldn't get me away from it. Spend hours and hours and hours on things that was hyper-focused. And even when I was a little kid, it used to be like Star Wars and stuff. Again, I'd just be obsessed with it. But and then obviously I got older, it was more so sports, and then the army. And obviously eventually hyper-focused on business, and I found my niche, my spot in life, and the rest is history.
Take us through the army. Why did you join the army?
My old man did it. And again, I wanted to serve, do my time. So, yeah, did my Rosso 4 years. I was in artillery, 1 regiment, as a gunny, and then transferred still within artillery as a forward observer, attached to part of 1 regiment, A battery, and attached to 6 RER infantry. So did that stint in the army. And, you know, just like with the army, it's not how they promote it. You know, the real job is different. You know, and the Afghan and Iraq trips were gone by the time I got there. Again, it's just one of those things. It's like, I've done my time. This is not for me, you know. Like a quick story. When I was at basic, I'd never seen $1,000, right? So I was at basic, my first paycheck, I thought I was loaded. Thought I was killing it. So, yeah, and then obviously $1,200 a fortnight's not a lot, especially in the real world. And I knew that while I was in the army, even my second year in, being a normal person, you know, working pay to pay wasn't for me. And I wanted to obviously make bucket loads of cash, but not having to rely on a pay slip. So I knew that I was destined for something different fairly early in my adult life.
What was the army life like for you? Was a memory that stuck out, a good memory in the army?
There's a few. I had a mate, we were all drunk, so there's you got the lines on base, so where you live, living in accommodation. When you get on the piss, especially when you're just, all the lads there full of testosterone, you can imagine what environment that's like, just a bunch of monkeys running around. And I seen a lad butt-ass naked. Yeah, it's a friend of mine from the reg, I won't mention his name, and he was doing cartwheels, and he'd somehow, like, shit, whilst in a cartwheel, perfectly land on the ground and kept going. Honestly, I was very impressed with it. That was probably one of the funnier moments. Yeah, and you got the odd one where, like, videos and stuff that like, you know, I've showed mates and stuff. Like, there's good moments there. They're bad, but they're good. Like, the best saying in regards to army, I think, is I don't miss the circus, but I miss the clowns. Right, because I'm one of them. Yeah, I did my time. I knew army wasn't forever for me. So, again, yeah, I knew I was destined for something different.
I'd say your mate's pretty shit at doing cartwheels then.
Yeah, yeah, I guess you could say that. Yeah. Glad he didn't have the runs.
Did you do any tours?
I only did Malaysia, so RCB 113. Like I previously mentioned, like Iraq and Afghanistan stuff wasn't going, and that's why us young lads wanted to go over there. I didn't have that privilege. But yeah, just at RCB 113 out in Penang and a small stint down in Palada. So yeah, just 3 and a bit months. I had my 19th birthday over there. I think it's young lads going overseas and stuff with the military. It's definitely an eye opener. Yeah, because again, it just shows you different cultures, but again, like how easy we have it in Western culture. And then again, our morals, you know, especially like towards women and stuff, work again over there. Yeah, some of it's pretty foul, but again, like I said, it's just an eye opener. So I'm glad I went over there and witnessed that. And I got this dodged up sleeve to remind me of that. But
at 19, was that your first time overseas?
Yeah. It was 18 when I went over. Yeah, I had the 19th over there. Yeah. But yeah, first time ever overseas. Yeah.
And how was that like? Obviously, being 18, going overseas, excitement, nervousness. How'd you feel?
Excited. Yeah, definitely excited. You don't really know what to expect. And yeah, just excited really, because you just roll with the punches when you get there. Yeah, you know, when you're training in jungle warfare, that's what we're doing. You know it's going to be shit. Like, you know you're going to be stuck in torrential rain. You know you're going to have to, you know, with a machete cut down vines and stuff so you can just walk straight. You know it's going to be shit. So you just roll with the punches. But going overseas in general, I was very excited for.
What was something bad that happened?
Well, I've hurt myself a couple of times. You know, I've slipped 2 discs in my lumbar spine. I got rheumatoid arthritis in my right hip. All my tendons in my ankles are stretched out. Like, you talk to any lad in combat corps, so, you know, like infantry engineers, forward observers and artillery, we're all like that. It's just part of the job because it's very physical, but also just something as little as, like, I'll reference like NVG, so night vision goggles, right? When you put them in your helmet, there's a lot of obviously weight at the front. And you're meant to have counterweights. Army didn't issue the counterweights. So you've just got this NVG walking at night and you're stuck like that. And then anytime you need to look up, you look up, back down again. Yeah. And then obviously that results in dudes like rolling their ankles with their body armor and pack on and stuff, busting their knees and shit, and hurting their back, and that was me. So again, probably the injuries is probably the bad stuff, as well as the political correctness that was steaming through when we went over. Yeah, political correctness probably ruined a lot of things, especially in that type of role. It really didn't need to be there. Yeah, and yeah, that's probably the two biggest points that really turned me off military. Again, I don't ever regret service, because it made me the man I am today too. Like if someone were to break out, I'd re-enlist in a heartbeat. Absolutely, I'd do it again.
Yeah, right.
But again, I don't miss the circus. I miss the clowns, innit?
The brotherhood, hey?
Absolutely, yeah, absolutely. And like with the brothers you meet in there, it's like you can see each other like not for years and years and years. And I referenced a mate of mine had come over to my house about a week and a half ago. He's travelled the world when he got out. I haven't seen him for about 3 years. Popped over at the gym to see the gym, and it's like we spoke yesterday. So, and that's the kind of the bond you have with those lads, because you're trauma bonded together. And yeah, like I've met the worst people in my life in the army, but I've met the best people as well, right? So again, I thank everything for that experience.
How long were you in the army for?
Just in my Rosso, 4 years.
Yeah, 4 years. Yeah.
Yeah, 17 to 21.
After the army, what'd you end up doing after that?
So I did Arnott's Biscuits. So I was a forky and done night shift. And I did work with Star Scaffolding for a bit during day shift. Again, like I mentioned before, the living pay to pay wasn't for me. I knew that very, very quickly. Again, like that's not a life I was going to live. So it was essentially to the point, either I'm not going to live this life or I'm going to get to where I'm going to get. There were some days. So you do night shift. I'd drop into the house, have a quick feed, back out, do days with scaffolding. And then it was easier potentially to drop in, grab a meal, but I'd sleep in the car park at Arnott's just because, I had a goal to own a gym. I mean, I hustled out for it, and sometimes it got hard, especially if you're sleeping in that fucking car, and then again, you're knackered, but you can't sleep because you're uncomfortable. Those moments, it's just pure delusion that's going, like keeps you going. That's where I believe that where logic goes out the window and everything I do is based off emotion, and vice versa. If emotion is backfiring, I rely on logic. And in that case, it was pure emotion. The fact that I refused to live a normal life, stacking cash and doing those ridiculous hours to, again, my dream, right? It wasn't easy, I'll tell you that much. There were plenty of days I was just staring at Arnott's and didn't want to go in or falling asleep on the forky.
That's real inspiring that you've done that. You've got your dream, you've got your goal. Your goal was to save up for a gym.
Yep.
So you go and you're working 2 jobs, and then in between 2 jobs you're sleeping in the car park.
Yeah, yep, sometimes, yeah, absolutely.
In your car, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, not every shift, but
yep,
several shifts you would have done that.
Absolutely.
How long did you do that for?
With Star, that was for the first 6 months. I was at Arnott's for 8, just because casual contract with the labour hire company I was with expired, and they just stuck someone else in those spots. And yeah, Star was only 6, but then I got into Iplex, pipelines and CSR Bradford, so installation and stuff like that. And even that job's shit too. Like, again, get fiberglass stuck into, in the divots of your arms. You're scratching it. You're just scrubbing it, scratching it for days, trying to get the fiberglass out of your skin. So that was shit. I did the sleeping in the car here and there and the night and day shift for about 6 to 8 months, and then just switched into the nights and afternoon area. I'd already ticked one of the goals, which was buy a home, so I could have the value of the dollar go up. It could build equity whilst I was saving for the gym, but again, I was close to that goal. So I didn't want to burn myself out before I got there.
So you bought your house first before you got the gym?
Yeah. Built one, yeah.
How long between the house and the gym?
About 4 or 5 months.
Ah, that's quick.
Yeah. So
not that far off.
I was going to buy the Jets Morayfield, and I had an issue with an accountant who I was going to go with when we were looking at due diligence and stuff, because that Jets Morayfield was making tons of money, but no one was in the gym. It was empty. So I didn't trust the due diligence on it. Went to another accountant. He just questioned why I would buy that when there's another gym that's for sale, and I hadn't seen it. Yeah, Breathe Health Clubs was for sale. Owned a couple of guys who were owners of Good Life owned it as well. The rest is history. It was the same price as that Jets. Had more to it, but it was a dying gym. I'll be honest, that gym, it was a risk. Definitely, because if I'd stuffed that up, the house was going with it. I had to really fucking buckle up and hustle because, like I said, I would have lost everything that I've just worked for. But that was a risk I was willing to take. Essentially, sink or swim. And if we're going to accomplish amazing stuff, your decisions have to be sink or swim.
Can we go back to when you were working those 2 jobs?
Yep.
And your dream to have your house and your gym? What was your mindset and your plan? Did you have a plan how to execute it?
To a point, yeah. Like to a point. More so number wise. So again, I type up 10% of this amount, how much do I need, plus stamp duty, et cetera, write that down. So I'd look at that every day. And then again, also I'd look at things like what raises the value quickly in, homes as well. So if I were to buy a normal home, quickly renovate it in certain areas, boom, equity immediately. Again, it's more of a numbers thing. I didn't know exactly. I knew the house would come before the gym. I knew that because I had to leverage it. But in saying that, I didn't know exactly how I was going to go, you know what I mean? Because I've never done it before. And I tried to, whilst I was with it, because obviously I didn't know anything about Breathe, I was looking into franchises in Anytime as well. I was looking at some old emails and, yeah, they pretty much just took the piss out of me. Yeah, it was actually quite embarrassing reading it, even from my end. Like, obviously I wasn't a professional. I didn't know how to email properly. But they just took the absolute piss out of me. So I read back on that. And it's just funny how around that time, now I'm one of them big competitors down here now. So, but I remember them just taking the piss out of me. So I think you'll learn as you go.
How old were you when you purchased your house and your gym?
So I was 21 when I purchased the house. Yeah, the gym was on the 30th of March. So yeah, about 2 weeks after my 22nd birthday, sorry. Yeah.
All right, that's young.
Yeah, that's impressive for somebody at that age.
Yeah.
With that drive to accomplish that.
Yeah.
I mean, I was just looking at where I could party for 3 days on my 21st. You know what I mean? Like, where's the venue? Who's going to come? Like, you know, so that is impressive.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate that. Yeah, my mind's still been different. Like I noticed very early on that the way I think is not how everyone else thinks. And like, don't get me wrong, in the army, I was a little bit like that. You know, especially uni nights when you have to go find some uni bird. But again, the drive to ensure getting a gym, getting the business, getting a house was much larger than me wanting to just go party it up. I couldn't justify it, so I really did it. I had a little setup too, like to keep me in the room. Like I'd have a projector and I'd put it off the white wall. I'd play PlayStation that way. You know, just little things to keep me in the base. But yeah, just again, stacking cash was my priority. And when I did go out, again, I wouldn't spend bucketloads of cash. So I could give myself a limit and I put a 50 in my shoe. If I ran out of cash, when that's time to call it, the 50 was to get me back to base in a cab. So just little shit like that. Gave myself indicators. Yeah, there might be the odd time I didn't do that, and there you go. There's $1,500 gone a night, you know. So most of the time it was like that, very structured.
What was life like after the army for you?
It had its difficulties, I'll be honest. First off, you don't really believe in mental health in the army. Like again, that's just that culture. That's the type of culture in there. It's, you know, if you feel shit, carry on. You got a job to do. When you get out, people don't talk about it very much, but adjustment disorder. The way they got told to me about it is, soldiers, you know, football players and stuff like that, they're the ones that suffer it the most because, again, like as a football player, when like NRL, once they retire, they're back to being normal, right? Their uniform doesn't have a pure meaning, right? When they put on the jersey, there's a meaning behind it. There's a past behind it, you know what I mean? And there's someone, and then they get out, now they're nobodies. You know, and that adjustment's hard to get over. I suffered from that pretty bad. It took me almost a year, I believe, to wrap my head around it. Like within the military, like you join the army, you know, you're a soldier, and you're not even a civilian, you're a soldier. And with that, that uniform got pride. You know what I mean? And how well that uniform was ironed, how, you know, kept that was, determined how much of a good soldier you actually are. So those minor things, as simple as that, would usually tell volumes of what type of soldier that person was. And, you know, like when the flag's been put up, you got to stand still and salute because, again, that's the Australian flag, right? Again, you show nothing but respect. Parade grounds always marched on a truth to respect, again, due to previous fallen soldiers. You air out your feet, right? So you don't get crumpet foot, right? There's literally a reason for everything you do in the army, right? And then again, Anzac Day, again, you feel good, you feel proud, you're doing your time, you know, you did your time. Again, you celebrate with your brothers. That's what the meaning is. And like when you get out, what are you? Like I said, there's a lot of kids out there joining at 17, like I did. They're getting out with nothing, not even didn't even finish high school. You know what I mean? So again, when that adjustment there is, I found difficult, and I know many others do. No one talks about it. It's just something that's kind of just kept on the low. But that was an adjustment for me. I'm going to be open on this podcast. I used to be addicted to opioids. The army put me on endones initially because of my injuries, on and off, ever since I was about 19. Yeah, from my back and my hip, on and off. But again, the doses slowly got higher and higher. And then when I was working at Arnott's, because obviously I left the army and stuff, working for Arnott's, by that point I was on Oxynorm 10s, but I was on like 6 a day. And just to get through the day. And again, I didn't know I was addicted at this point. I still remember the exact day I found out I was addicted. I didn't bring them to work. I usually had, a satchel in my bag or something. Yeah, didn't bring it to work. And I felt sick as a dog. I didn't know why. And for some reason, my brain I kept thinking about the painkiller. I thought it was just because my knees were hurting, everything was aching, I was sweating. In the forklift, I was burning up. And I ended up going home early because again, I thought I caught the flu, like an extreme case. And because I was aching, I took an oxy, and 20 minutes later, I was perfect. I was like, oh, fuck. So, and like I said, that's at 21, Again, I realised, oh, fuck, I'm addicted to this shit. That's my first ever time experiencing that. And that went on for another couple of years. I just kept upping my dose. I was meant to get my hips fused, but my doctor, my neurosurgeon who was going to do that, got done for kiddie porn. So, yeah. Disgusting prick. But again, I didn't get the hips fused, so then I had to continue rehab and try and sort my back out and my hips out. And now I can train regularly because I've done so, but that was a lot harder road. Again, I was just stuck on these painkillers road, and then they got me on slow release as well because towards the end, I'm talking last year and a half, I was on 6 Oxynorm 20s a day. And then I was on 2, what they call Prolexis, slow release opioids. So easily over 200 milligrams a day of just oxy. Yeah, it was rough, I'll be honest. It was fucking rough. And I got sick of it because, if you'd ran out and, I remember I had to go to my nana's funeral once and I ran out a day early. I miscounted what I needed and I was in the hurt locker, and just shit like that. I was controlled by the substance. I decided to get off it. I literally admitted myself into green slopes because again, it's one thing to realise, yep, you need help in regards to addiction. And I just went straight into it. They put me on a ketamine drip for 3 days just so the withdrawal symptoms weren't as bad. When they tried to weasel me off it, 3 days is not a lot. And I wish I knew more. I knew more about the withdrawal side effects because I'll honestly, it was the hardest thing I've ever had to do in my life, easily. And I said, I've had a life. It's fucked. Excuse my language. But again, the first night I got out, I left the hospital on day 3. Again, I forgot that I had ketamine drip, so I thought I'd be able to sleep. I lied down, I couldn't sleep. My feet were popping off. I didn't know why. And it was a weird sensation in my ankles, and it would wake me up. I'd be wired. So the first 3 days, I was just wandering the house. And I couldn't really feel anything again. And I found out later why. But at this point, I literally had no emotions towards anything besides sadness and anger. That was it. Getting infuriated with my feet moving. And then again, some of the symptoms, again, I'm going to get a little bit of detail here. You get the shits. And it's not just normal shits, it's acidic. So it burns your ass. And the reason I'm saying this is because it got to a point where you're wiping your ass become excruciating. All right, again, it's fucked. I don't wish it on anyone. And I still worked. I still went to work every day. Still ran the gym. I even installed a pay pass thing on the ATM. I was not the ATM, the vending machine, just to try and keep my brain occupied. But then again, I used to go to the office and just sweat. One thing, I found out later, I thought I smelled like pneumonia, like cat piss. for like, again, for pretty much about 6 months, I thought I smelled like cat piss. No one else could smell it. I later found out it was because I'm smelling my insides, detoxing. Yeah. So that happened. And again, because I had a fiance at that time, and, she was a stress head. So if I'd obviously been honest with her, she'd make things a bit harder for me because she'd just stress. So I had a bucket hidden in one of the bath toilets. The one thing they don't tell you is you vomit a lot. You vomit everywhere. I got to a point I was vomiting blood regularly. Yeah, I had the shits, and I'd be sitting there having the shits and then vomiting blood at the same time. And then because I was trying to hide it from, the ex, but the fiance at the time, I had hidden the toothbrush and toothpaste and shit in there too. So obviously I didn't smell like vomit. I didn't have blood on my teeth. So I just brushed my teeth and didn't go out like it didn't happen. Yeah, and that would happen like 6, 7, 8 times a day. And then, but again, I'm glad I had like a business because it distracted me. That, if you talk about dark places, that's below it. Like they say, rock bottom has a basement. It's got another basement underneath. I'm telling you that. Like just simple things such as like, you guys going home? Like that, oh, I'm home. That's a hormone. I didn't realize all this shit. That's something says, what's a hormone? All my hormones were gone because the oxy had been pumping so many hormones in my brain stopped producing it. So you just had to wait it out until your brain started producing it again. I didn't understand when I was home. I had, again, no emotions towards that. And then, and obviously if you're in a relationship, that aspect, you've got no emotion towards your missus and stuff. So you're just going through the motions. Like one thing I kept hearing was, you're here, but you're not here. Like you're physically here, but you're not actually there. Yeah, and I look back, she's right. It's hard to explain. I get a bit emotional about it because it's a fucking tough thing. And I think fuck, I got little brothers and sisters too, because the thought of ending it was so regular for the first 3 months. It'd be, I'm talking easily over 20 times a day. I was seriously considering it. Because again, I was like, I can't do another day of this. I can't do another day. Can't do another day. And this is brutal honesty here. No one knows any of this, but I drove to the train station at Rumba Downs 3 times. And, I sat in the car. Then I called myself a bitch and then was like, I'll do it tomorrow. Just bought myself some time. Again, I think I told the ex-fiance that I was going to grab lunch. Drove to there, got out of the car, just stood at the front of the stairs, just contemplating everything. And I bitched again. I was a coward in that case. Just said, I'll do it tomorrow. All right, I'll try one more day. If it's good tomorrow, I'll do it. I'll actually do it. Yeah, and then again, obviously, I'm not saying anything. I said to myself, and then third day, drove down there, got out of the car, I was determined. I was like, this is it. Like, fucking, I'm done. I can't handle this because I think I'd even read articles on it, people who with like heroin users and shit, because essentially like it's opioids. Mm. And they said like their hormones never regulated back. And, when you read that and you're going through my shit, I'm like, I'm not doing this forever. I can't do this shit forever. I'm either going to relapse or I'm just going to end it here, and I'd rather end it here than relapse. So, I got onto the platform and, I just kind of just chilled out on the edge for a bit. Not past the yellow to concern people, but again, I was ready to jump in front of it. My thoughts on my little brother. It was funny enough, he was the biggest part of that. He doesn't know it, so I hope he doesn't listen to this. My little brother's in the Air Force now. I'm fucking proud of that little fucker. But here, I think of him like, if he goes through a hard time in his adult life, which he will, right? If I carked it, I killed myself, that makes it okay for him too. You know what I mean? Like, so again, and that's what saved me. Honestly, so like I was done at that point. I was, nothing could have saved me at that point. If I hadn't thought of Lockie, that was it. I had justified everything in my head. I knew I was more of a burden than just being there because everyone, like Crystal, that woman that raised me, I was more of a burden to her because she was worried all the time, right? I wasn't talking about it. I was a burden to the fiance at the time, right? Because we were bickering because she didn't understand why there was no emotions. So I just was like, yes, sweet. Like this fucking, hopefully it's quick. That's really honestly, the thing that was in my head before Lockie popped up was, I hope it's quick. I don't want to fucking be just lying there. And again, I remember even trying to picture how I'd jump on it, hopefully land in the middle so it would just crush me in one hit. Yeah, and I thought of Lockie and I said, in my head, I was like, well, if I fucking do it, he's going to think it's okay to do it when life gets tough for him. So, yeah, I stood back, jumped in the car. Yeah, like, and I don't believe like men should cry. I'm pretty old school like that. But in these situations, maybe a little bit, had a little tear up, and then sucked it back up and went back to work, and pretended it didn't happen. Yeah, and again, just because I was getting pumped full of oxy, and that's my young adult life, is just working and then addiction and then getting off it and then finding a balance and trying to figure out who I am. So, and that's another problem I still have today. I have this issue today. Like, I didn't realise I couldn't really talk to people. When I was taking oxy, that's what was doing the talking. I was it's made me talk. And owning a business, I've got to talk to everyone. I realised when I come off it, I didn't know how to talk to people. I had not a clue. I was like calculating conversations and stuff, and quite literally it was just awkward. Most of my encounters were just awkward at first. So I literally had to do research, and like just like anything in business I've been doing, I do a ton of it just so how do I talk to people and then figure it out and then trial things. And one thing I did do was just like, all right, ask them questions about themselves. That's little things. So again, by the time my brain catches up and I can think of something to say instead of awkward, I just kept asking them questions until I got better. I literally had to teach myself how to talk to people because, again, the oxy controlled that. That's probably the hardest, like I said, the hardest thing in my life I've gone through. And again, it's not like it's like an addiction I chose to do. It's not I enjoyed the drug. You know what I mean? Like I didn't do it because of recreational reasons. I did it because the army put me on it. And then they just dosed me up. And then when it stopped working, they're like, cool, more drugs.
Wow.
So, and that was between, like 24, 23, still young adult. And again, I don't know who I am. I still don't know who I am because who I thought I was on the drugs, the oxys. And then I got off it. I go, who am I? I got no idea. You're meant to figure that out in your early 20s. You're meant to have an idea of that, you know what I mean? And yeah, I have no fucking clue.
That's strong. It's thanks for sharing that with us.
Yeah.
And I know that, would have been hard. What you're going through back then, fuck.
I didn't mean to bring it down.
Yeah.
Oops, sorry. I didn't mean to bring it down, but again,
No.
if there's a lad out there who's suffering and stuff like that and he's got goals, it does end with you ending it. And I'll tell you like a quick little 2-second story. Like the day I found out my hormones were coming back, this is why I love Kevin Hart. It was The Rock, a Kevin Hart movie where the Rock was like an agent or something and they went to high school together or some shit.
Yeah.
Yes, that movie. He did something. I actually laughed. That's a hormone thing too, by the way, and laughing at shit, that's actually hormone. I laughed. And then I remember the fiance was like, what the fuck? And I was like, oh, fucking sweet. I think it's slowly coming back to normal, right? And that was just a step from there. And it did to a point. But I remind them, you become a different person once you're out of it. Like, I feel like any child attribute I had left died there. Easily, there's a big part that died there and it will never come back. And as long as you have an understanding of that, you're not going to come out the same way you went in as a person-wise. It's not the end of the world. And it does end.
Your words was you bitched it. I think you manned up by going, nah, I'm not doing it. Going back there the next day. And thankfully that you're able to have that purpose. And your purpose was your brother Lockie. And I think that's a strong point. We need to have that purpose. When you're down and out on your lowest point, you need that purpose to still be here, whether it's a family member, whether it's whatever it is.
Yep.
I think everyone needs to have that real purpose. And then you taking the steps to come back and get off it and then just realise who you are. And you said to this day, you don't really know who you are because you're used to that person that was on the drugs. When you bought your gym at North Lakes, Breathe Gym at North Lakes, did you have a plan? Did you have staff ready to go? Did you have a mentor to help and guide you?
Yeah, I had no one guiding me. I never really have. Yeah, no one guiding me. There were staff there, like reception staff. They'd cleaned house before I got there. So anyone good was gone. The leftovers were still there. And even some of the PTs, most of the PTs had buggered off to Wells Gym because that was the new gym at the time. I think a year before that or a year and a half before that they got built, and that's why Breathe was going down because Wells had taken everything. I'm like, good on them. That's the business we're in. I'm all for it. I had no idea what I was doing. Not a fucking clue. And I'll be really honest here. Like, again, I just saw an opportunity. I was like, all right, well, again, sink or swim. That's what I pretty much do all the time with my business ventures because I refuse to sink. But in saying that, again, like, for example, Les Mills, do you guys ever heard of that program?
Yes.
I'd never heard of it. Didn't know it was a thing because I only ever trained at like a Jets and like at any time and stuff like that. So nothing major. Never heard of Les Mills. So I had to figure that out pretty quick what the hell that was. They had like a cycle room. I'd never even seen one of those. So they had a creche. Again, didn't know what a creche was. I didn't know gyms had daycare shit. I had no idea. So then I had to learn all the legislation, stuff like that. And again, everything I did was learn by my mistakes. So because no one's there to nurture me. No one was there. That's how that business works, and that is business in general. You get swallowed up if you hesitate. So again, I had to learn from my mistakes, fix it. Simple as that. And I made a lot of mistakes, a lot in that first year. Don't get me wrong, sign-ups went up, but there was a lot of issues where, again, just basic shit, I fucked up, and again, it would ruin morale in the gym, in the staff. And that's another thing I had to learn, managing staff that weren't military. So you can't just talk. You've got to do this is your list. You can't do that. You've got to, be kinder, I guess, have a personality about yourself instead of just a list. That's one thing I noticed, and be able to have a yarn to them because it's like that's your morale right there. If they're not happy, then the members aren't happy. And yeah, there's, like I said, there's heaps. I can talk about this all day. There is so much I didn't know, but I'm glad I know. And if there was a kid that came up to me saying he's buying a gym, I'd 100% tell him, right? Again, because that's something I didn't have. Yeah, because like I said, I believe if I was anyone else, if I wasn't the way I am, everyone would have sunk. Everyone would have sunk. And just real quick, to the point, and like I copped so much hate, how young I was, obviously owning Breathe Health Clubs, buying a gym from older people. being 22, just got into the business industry, you know what I mean? I had people from like 25 to 45 commenting on Breathe's posts, posting on community pages, saying that, I was arrogant and I was cocky. And if I was, how'd they know that? I'd never even spoken to them, so it's just based off my appearance. And even like a big one was Breathe won't last 6 months. Breathe won't last till the end of next year. Breathe's gone under. They're bankrupt already. This kid's dug himself in a mess. Also leaving very nasty messages. And these are people who weren't even members as well, by the way. So if you look them up, they're either not members or they hadn't been a member for like 5-6 years before I took over. So going out of their way just to bag me out. And that's one thing I learned as well is you don't have to do anything to get your business ruined, realistically, right? Just my age. So I wanted to add that in there. That was one of the hurdles because I couldn't understand what's my age got to do with anything. You know what I mean? I busted my ass to get here. But that's the problem too, because if you talk about it, you come off as arrogant, come off as you trying to brag. Yeah, there's heaps of learning curves. I'll leave it at that. I've even like printed them out and laminated the comments and the messages Breathe got and the community pages. I've laminated it out and I got them on my wall so I can read it, feed off it. I love it.
As in motivation to... Yeah.
Like at the end of the day, like again, rage is a very, very good emotion. It's something that it's like diesel. You don't feel like it's just going to go and keep going. It's never going to get empty until you get what's done. Like I said, as a 22-year-old kid still learning, I felt a lot of that. Especially these are grown-ass adults, and I'm still just in my 20s trying to figure shit out, and not having any money. Now I'm fucking trying to kill it, and these people are trying to bring it down. It creates a lot of rage. And I picked up, the rumour mill. I wasn't allowed to stuff up. Like, again, another quick story. I got plumbing issues, right? So I got a plumber in and they were speaking in obviously their jargon. And I just asked the question and, what were they talking about? Like, what's that mean? And I had an apprentice just laugh at me, right? Because apparently I should know what it means because I'm the owner of Breathe and I'm retarded if I don't. Things like that. So if I ever fucked up, like I said, my bodybuilder show, I didn't come on stage the best I could. Again, everyone loved the fact I fucked up. But if you're an average person, it's a good job, you did well. So that's something I had to learn pretty quick too is they're silent when you win or I'm lucky. And when I lose, and they're applauding. That's something I picked up pretty quick. So, and that still happens to this day.
Yeah.
But it's part of the game. I still love it. Because then next gym will open with crickets.
How do you cope with it? I mean, you talk about it like it's just you do this, you do that, and you just keep going. But a lot of people couldn't do that.
Yeah, it's just the way I think my brain works. Like, again, at the end of the day, did it upset me? Yeah. Yeah, it did. Like I said, it created rage. I was very angry about it. And like I said, 90% of those people didn't even know who I was. They'd just seen me. That's it. But that's exactly what it is. They'd just seen me. So I literally looked at it from a logical perspective where, okay, they're clearly insecure about something, about their own lives and stuff like that. And they don't like the fact I'm young, tattooed, big, you know what I mean, owning a gym and a house and stuff like that. So that's how I used it. I told myself that, you know, because every person's got insecurities, but there's obviously big enough to portray it onto me. If they weren't going as hard as they were, that meant I was doing something wrong. So the more they're at me, the better I'm doing. That's how I've looked at it.
Just because you're young and you've achieved the goal of owning your own gym and they're all hating on you, when that space is meant to be a positive environment. That's what I don't get.
Well, again, you've trained at Breathe. Again, that's a culture that I will push. Is, again, like, no one's better than anyone. Like, what? Again, I've been training longer. I look like this. Does that make me better than you? Absolutely not. Right? We're all equals in that gym, and that's the culture I'll continually to push at Breathe, because that's something I can't stand. You know, is exactly that. People hate, because again, I'm assuming you've been to other gyms before, and that culture is that people belittling each other. You know, someone new at the gym, they think everyone's looking, you know, and they say, oh, no one's staring at you. Other gyms, they are. You know what I mean? Like, that's, like you are getting judged, unfortunately. Whereas that culture I do not have, I will not accept. And I have banned many members for displaying such behaviours. Because at the end of the day, like, I'd rather get rid of the bad ones, like, you know, 10 bad ones and get one good one, to be honest with you.
You've actually done that.
Banned members, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely.
Wow.
Because their behaviour is disgusting, right? Their behaviour is disgusting. And if they're willing to belittle anyone, I'm not having it. Because at the end of the day, it's my gym, my company, so they're my policies. I will not tolerate such behaviour. And as well as, like, another thing is, if, you know, different cultured men want to make women uncomfortable, and that happened a fair bit at North Lakes, I'll ban them too, right? So at the end of the day, it's my job to ensure the safety, so everyone's well-being, the safety of women in particular in the gym environment, but also make sure everyone's comfortable, right? So they should rock up in an outfit, you know, the gym leggings and stuff, and not worry about what everyone thinks, because everyone's there to encourage each other, or they're there to train in and out, right? You know what I mean? Like, that's the culture I built at Morayfield, you know, and people love it. I will not, you know, I won't tolerate that shit. It grinds my gears, eh?
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
Now, well done for even doing that. I've never heard of anyone doing that, any owners anyway.
Because it sacrifices money. I'm a big believer in, if I've got the perfect culture, you know, of people being comfortable, that'll happen down the road. All right, do I have to make a sacrifice now, you know, lose money now for having a way better culture in the future, a better name with the brand, and, you know, down the road I'll make the money. I'd rather that, because again, like, for example, like, if you'd brought yourself into the gym, right, you could vouch for that gym if she were to go in there by herself, because you know how I run the show, right? And again, people who are in there, you know, that culture is good. So if someone's been a bad egg, you know, you're looked after. So, and that's the biggest thing is not just safety, but women's safety too. Yeah. Right?
100%.
I'm a big believer in that. So yeah.
Yeah.
Because again, like, the way I run, again, my businesses, the way I grew, you know, I have to, definitely not arrogant, but I'm fucking cocky. You know what I mean? I've got a big ego. I'll be honest there. But I've got to, like, you know, when it comes to, like, your statement in regards to, you know, other people, that's what these young lads need to learn, is to not give a fuck. Because at the end of the day, if you start achieving, you'd be surprised how many people that you thought were on your side don't clap. That's the biggest thing. You'd be very surprised. So there's, like, the young lads and ladies out there, they need to, it's you. Right? If you've got someone in your corner, like, cheering you on, that's actually fucking precious. But at the end of the day, again, with sports stars and stuff, and, like, you know, especially business is one of the loneliest things in the world, right? It is honestly one of the loneliest things in the world, and no one understands it. So you can't even talk about it. Who was up late at night, you know, fucking on the computer, just studying marketing, you know, keep the gym during COVID. I slept at the gym. That was another thing. Put an air mattress up because we were the only gym 24/7 because I slept there because we were staffed. Who was doing that? Me. So at the end of the day, and who was when I referenced, like off the mic, the LEDs around the mirror. I knew it was a good idea. Everyone said it was shit, but I backed it because it's just me. It's my opinion. You know what I mean? People are going to hate it until they see it. Same with the Reformer. I know you've seen the Reformer Pilates studio. Everyone was against it. And I added that 24/7 implement into the Reformer studio. We're the only one in Queensland that has it, like in a gym environment. And everyone was against it. And then when they saw it, they're all for it. So at the end of the day, these young lads need to understand that they don't need anyone else's thumbs up. They don't need approval. They don't need it. Fuck it. Yeah. Mate, you need your own approval. And this is where the cockiness comes in, if you're that confident in yourself, you'll achieve everything. And that's the beautiful part of the human brain. Like if you know you're going to do it, you'll naturally figure it out. You know what I mean? Like I did, sink or swim, right? There's no boat for me to row away on in plan B. Fuck plan B. I've got plan A and that's the only thing I got. So is it going to hurt? Yeah. Am I going to struggle? Yeah. But guess what? I'm going to fucking win. And then again, the cockiness builds up, the confidence builds up. And again, you've got to, if you're going to compete with big corporate gyms like I do, you can't think you're the little guy. You can't, I'm the only independent one left. I can't be like, oh, I'm independent. That's the reason. No one gives a fuck. That's why I've got to outdo them. So and that's just my opinion. I've got to be just as confident. And that's what these lads, if you want to be NRL, you've got to think that you are better than everyone. Because if you don't, you're not going to make it. Right? You just don't have to be arrogant about it.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's I went on a rant, but I like your word of arrogance.
That's
spot on, man.
Spot on.
Yeah.
Because like we even talking last night, yesterday, just about how you said it's lonely having a business.
Yeah.
And I referred it to as I feel like I'm walking down a dirt track with bushes on either side hanging over me, and they're filled with thorns and prickles.
Yep.
And as I'm walking through, I'm just getting all this shit all over me, and I'm just like picking all the shit off. And it's people having stabs at you, having goes at you, and not liking what you're doing, or they're jealous about what you're doing, or whatever their reasons are. And you're just having that thing is where you're just like, it's having to display yourself when you're getting shot down, people having to go at you, and you can't react in.
No, because unprofessional if you react.
It is. And we realised that just the other day, man. And it's just, you can't go there. We just, it will ruin everything for us.
Yep.
We've only just started. We've only just started our business. I mean, you've been in business for how long? We've only just started and we've already realised that. And we're just like, we're trying to do something good here.
Yep. Well, they'll find a negative. Yeah. But the best advice I can give in that thing is fuck them. Even if they are, like if they're family, fuck them. Like if they're not there to applaud you, right? If they're not there to wish you the best, and like in your business, right? Like we've already spoken. I wished when we had our first conversation, I said to you, what do I need to do to help you out? Well, how can I promote you? Because I want to see this grow. I said, because this shit's awesome, right? Straight away. If you can't see certain people doing that for you, fuck them off. Because at the end of the day, you're going to have hard days. Like your days is shit. And you're going to second guess everything. And you're going to second guess it together. Do you need toxic shit the second you leave? You're already under pressure. That's just the one thing I've learned, especially from transitioning North Lakes into Morayfield. I learned that the hard way. Because again, people might have their hand out to help you, but behind them, they've got the ladder. So just that analogy. They pretend they're just there waiting for you to fall, and then they'll take their bit.
I think with us, it's good because we've got each other to bounce off. You didn't have anyone to bounce off.
Yeah.
You just...
That's been my life though. So again, like with Lockie and my little sister Maddie, like and raising them, again, I just dealt with me shit. I mean, who am I going to go home to? Grab me? Like there's no one at home, bro. Like Lockie and Maddie, they had me to come to and, help them out with their issues. Yeah. Who was I going to do? So I've just sorted everything myself. Very, very independent in that manner. So again, that's been the normal. So I wouldn't understand on the other side though. So I think that's pretty cool having a big brother. That'd be rad.
No, it's very powerful, man. Like just your whole mindset and your drive and your strive to achieve your goals and that. Talking about that, What was the move like from North Lakes to the Morayfield gym, opening that? What was the challenges of doing that?
There was a few things. Like I said, I've made mistakes and I'm like learning from them. And one thing I didn't realise was the social aspect of it. This is actually a big problem. North Lakes numbers, funny enough, when I was doing all the Morayfield filming and all that stuff, North Lakes numbers started to drop. And I didn't know why. And then we had a massive rumour go around saying that Marcus doesn't care about North Lakes members anymore. He's about Morayfield now. It's just, mums getting the shits. And toxicity with instructors. Some of them, I didn't bring them across to Morayfield, right? Because they had instructors in Morayfield specific. Now, they're toxic on RFCA. Let's say spin class of 11 other mums. You can imagine a big whirlpool of shit they're cooking. And then that happened. I didn't really know how to handle that because according to like me, I was like, I've got shit to sort with Morayfield. This shit, like when you're building a business, right? Again, like you got the when you signed up, foundation member, I had to do the marketing for that, right? We did pair runs for that. I had to organise that. And people forget, like those staff, they're not paid off Morayfield Gym. They're paid off my wages at North Lakes. And some of those were actually paid off just out of my personal wages from me working. So my actual pay, I get a paycheck from work, I just give it out, but essentially to pay these guys to do work for me. So that's how I put the business first. And that's the shit no one really sees. So again, when the social aspect, I fucked up. I should have showed my face a little bit more. I look back in hindsight, because hindsight's 2020. Maybe I should have dropped by the gym, when I finished it at like 6 o'clock at Morayfield, drop by and chill out there for 2 weeks. 2 hours, so people saw me. That could have changed everything, but that was one thing, the social aspect of it. The build. 2 weeks before we started building. So keep in mind, I've already signed the lease. So now I'm stuck on a 10-year lease and 2 5-year option, right? And it's about, I won't give you an exact number, I'll just round it up, 30 grand a month, right? So 10 years of that. So I've just signed it. It's 100% all legal. I'm stuck with this decision now. 2 weeks, my builder gets back to me. Hey, mate, the COVID material prices have skyrocketed. You're going to have to somehow find 250 grand. I said, or we knock down the mezzanine. Like we don't do the mezz. That's your replacement. And I wasn't not about to have a mezz because the way I envisioned it in my head, that's where it had to be there. So I got lucky with a good broker. And we sorted that, which is good. But I'll be honest, 2 weeks out and your hands are tied, that's it. That's it. So, yeah. And usually, I'll be honest with you, I fucking hate brokers. Because, again, they make all these promises and the problem you're going to run into. So you warn them and they don't listen and then they run into the same problem and you've already warned them about it. And you've even done, maybe we take this route, maybe we take this route. And, I hate brokers. But there's one dude, he's fucking awesome. He's up on the Goldie. He just simply told me, he's like, all right, sweet, what route do you want to take? And yeah, we discussed obviously our options. He got me the loan, fucking beauty. And I guess, again, I got lucky at meeting him. But also he was the last call. I think I called 20 brokers a day, just trying to find someone who was good enough to do it. And I was nothing like, but again, I didn't quit. So I think I found him 4 days out. Yeah. Yeah. So 4 days out of that, I was cutting it close, put it that way.
Stressful. You would have been stressed as.
I wasn't sleeping. Sleeping was the last thing in my mind then, bro. I was just sweating, thinking of money. But yeah, dealt with that too, bro. It's rough. And like I said, then you got the pre-sale things going too. So the thing is, I already was selling a gym that had a mezzanine in it. So then that turned into false advertising if I didn't get it across. So it would have been a shit fight. I already got insurance as well. So my insurance skyrocketed because of square meterage and second story. So I'd already signed that too. So I knew my insurance my price went up too. So done all this just to find out I need extra $250K because of material prices. And then again, dealing with the COVID, the back end of COVID restrictions and stuff like that. Especially when you're a new gym opening, that could crumble you. So yeah, I dealt with all that and we're here still, killing it. Yeah. I know, I've obviously had to shut my North Lakes gym down. The reason obviously I gave social media and stuff like that was definitely not accurate. It was part of the reason, I guess, if you take a little bits out of it. But again, Morayfield was starting to kill it. And then I went through a divorce. And all I'll say is money went missing, a large amount, what I consider a large amount. And yeah, couldn't afford the rent because, yeah. And then that turned into a big battle because I think Christmas Day, I found out the account money wasn't in there. And then I think it happened 3 different times and it was out of like business accounts and stuff, you know what I mean? So only my name was on it. But this individual was allowed to do it because technically on paper until it was finalised was my wife at that time. So they were allowed to have access to all my banking, all my funds and stuff, yeah. So again, like I said, there's a lot more to it. But again, that and shutting that was hard too because like that's your baby. You know what I mean? I'm my first business. There's a lot of memories in that one. You know, I learned everything there. All the bullshit, but all the cool stuff. So shutting that was hard. And, you know, Cohen, one of the PT managers I was in the army with.
Yeah.
Yeah, so him and Lani, she's on the desk. We cleaned that gym out because I think they gave us 24 hours. Anything that wasn't stapled to the ground, we fucking took. We took everything. Did that, yeah, and then security escorted me off. And just, you know, walking past in the shops, I think I avoided North Lake shops for a while. That's where shame is. But me as a person, I couldn't do that for too long. I prefer to sit in my pain and really feel it. That sound like a psycho, but yeah, no, it got to the point where there's a seat at the front of it. I sit there and just stare up there, sit it there, and then just sit in it for like 10, 15. I'd deliberately go have lunch there or something just so I could just be there at North Lakes. Because that shopping centre is where the whole thing is where it's a shame for me because I lost. Mm. That's the first time I've lost, and this is what loss is in business: is everything just collapsing on you. You win, sweet, you get a little win, cool. A loss is a loss. It's the same volume. It's a full crumble. That's literally liquidation, bankruptcy. That's the risk, and a win could be $2 or $2 billion. So yeah, that's the cooling of business. You know, the wins can go high, but the risks are always hectic. So, and that's again the sink or swim. But yeah, I just sit there and absorb it. I even like car park upstairs at Westfield, like on the roof. I had a certain park up there I parked. I make sure I drive past it. And I'm around the area, I'll go up there, drive past it, just so I can feel it again. Feel that shame, feel that defeat, because it's a feeling I won't feel again. I will not feel that again. Oh. So again, that's just what I do. Because I hate that feeling so much, I refuse for that to happen again. So, and that's me.
Well, that's pretty cool. I think that's cool that you do that.
Yeah.
To have that moment and to feel that pain, just to keep driving yourself, as in to go, I'm not fucking feeling that again.
Mm-hmm.
I've been through that. I'm not going back there. Not whether you call it a failure or you lost. You haven't lost because you're still going and you bought Morayfield, and that's going great for you. Mm. So it's only lost when you just totally quit and give up, which you haven't. Yeah,
you're right. Yeah. Because the only form of loss is, I believe, is death. So anything else outside of that is psychological. That's my belief in that. Yeah. So if I'm alive, again, a loss is psychological. And what I mean with loss in that is more so the assets. You know, that was my baby. That was my first gym. Like I said, and you look at the old ones, I look like a baby in the photos. Like I'm like a child still. And yeah, there was just more so of trying to figure, you know, like just, I couldn't hold it. Like if it was up to me, I'd keep that gym there forever. You know, I wouldn't change a fucking thing because the way I bought it, the way I liked it, you know, I wouldn't have changed a thing. So I would just literally hold it there if I was rich enough, didn't care about the memberships, just pay the rent every year just because it was my baby. But again, also it was a good wake up for me. I believe, like I said, that wasn't the path for me. You know, I'm clearly got redirected and I had to learn, you know. Like if you get too full of yourself, I believe, and I got too full of myself because you'll be knocked down and taught a fucking lesson. Simple as that. And I was taught a fucking lesson. I thought I was king shit naturally. So again, God intended to knock me down. So
humbled.
That's it. I got more than humbled. Because again, you can imagine the onslaught online I copped. It was fucking, I had instructors trying to get money out of me because classes for the next 4 weeks didn't exist anymore. But they're trying to get money out of me for that. We had people who hadn't been in the gym in 4 or 5 years, but they were still just paying a membership casually, try to get a refund for 4 or 5 years, and then went on social media and say, I stole it. Yeah. So I was dealing with all that. It was rough. But again, that's another thing. I copped heaps of shit, but the volume of that compared to, you're not going to last 6 months, that's personal nasty. I'm lucky they didn't end up in a newspaper. But yeah, it was a lesson I had to learn, how to get knocked down. Right, cool, got knocked down. Am I still cocky? Yeah. But I'm just a little bit wiser now. So, but yeah, again, like I'm thankful for that happening. It sounds bad, but I am thankful because I look at myself now and the way I was back then, I'm a whole lot stronger. I believe, way stronger person. So, and that's my belief in that. Yeah.
Yeah. And what's your next steps in business?
Yeah, I've done a lot of research in commercial property. So investing into commercial and putting my gyms in the buildings under 20-year contracts. So within 24 hours, of signing, you're building several $1 million equity right there, and then leverage the equity to build more. So, and then build 4 or 5 gyms simultaneously. So, and at that point, you can't stop me. You know what I mean? The rent will pay its own payments, repayments on it, and the extras will pay off the first building. Once that's fully paid off, cool. You just tick away at the other one. And then again, use the franchise analogy, because I'll never actually be a franchise. I like running my shit, but, certain tags, it's a bill anyway, so why not make myself the bill? It makes sense? Mm-hmm. So every bill I got to pay from toilet paper onwards, right, will be coming from my companies. So again, it's a bill I got to pay. I might as well bottle a bulk from China. So, and that's my analogy. So the gym could break even, but I'm sure you can imagine if I'm paying 30 grand a month rent, or at Westfield, it was like 48 plus all those bills you got to pay, which are now profit. All I'm losing is on tax. I'm sure you can imagine. That's just the gym breaking even. That's the gym making zero profit. And again, who can compete with you at the end of the day then? No one. You can get big corporate companies trying to fuck with you. Good luck. I'll just build another one next year. You know what I mean? Again, and that's the thing too. Have that power in commercial, and then again, expand the gyms. Get the gyms bigger and better. And right now, I believe I've mastered, and you can second this, the new equipment now, like the weight section now, all the machines and everything. I feel like I've mastered that part. I found exactly what works. Now I need to master the classes side of it, right? How do I market that, right? Again, reformers all well and good, but how can I get more attendance? So once I've got it down pat, it's essentially copy, paste, right? So again, and a lot of people won't share that knowledge. I'll fucking share it. I'll tell everyone. You know what I mean? I'd rather other people not learn the hard way. They're going to learn things the hard way, but rolling with the punches. If I had to do something or I forgot something, it's like, okay, fuck, and now I've got 3 days to do this, which should take 3 weeks. No one's willing to help in this industry. I also want to buy domestic houses around the gyms so I can house the managers, house the way that everything's happening on low rent, actually house my staff, right? So they're not fucking worried. Because the worst this shit's going to get, people aren't going to be able to buy homes. But again, if I'm housing them, giving them a car and stuff like that, fuel card, they're going to be less stressed. At the end of the day, they're going to work better, right? And no other gym's going to do that for them. So and that's where I'm working towards,
That's cool.
Yeah, these are all these plans, man. Yeah. And this is shit I've just thought of myself and written down and implemented. I'm sure I'll have something to learn there when I get to that part. Just like anything, I'll just headbutt it, jump in it head first, and see what happens. Yeah. That's probably why I got a sore neck. No.
Take us through your years of bodybuilding. How long were you doing that for?
4 or 5 years. My first comp I was in the army for. I was tiny, didn't place. It was more of an experience. I'd never done it before. I'd never been that lean before. I only got down to like 5%, and that's definitely not good for bodybuilding. It's still lean and it's really, really lean for the average Joe, but bodybuilding, it wasn't acceptable. My first comp owning gyms, horrendous. Oh, fuck. I thought little cheat here, little cheat there on the diet, but no, it showed on comp day. It was pathetic. I hate it. But then after that fuck up, I refused to, again, the feeling of shame. I refused to have that feeling again. So, that next comp, the next 2 comps, I was extremely lean. I think the last was 3.1%. And the last comp I did, I was 2.2, 2.3. Like scary, unhealthy lean. It looked cool though. I had veins everywhere. I felt that the last show I got robbed. And again, you can ask everyone that was there watching me. They can have a biased standpoint, but even I was that certain, because usually I'm my biggest critic. So if someone could be slightly close to me, I'll think they're better. I'll be honest, that's how I work. That makes me work harder. In that show, I thought I'd won it. I honestly thought I'd won it. I saw some of the photos. I even had pros backstage saying, "Well, it looks like I'm competing against you in October." So the pros thought I'd won it. And I knew the second there might be a hurdle of me not winning it at all or placing is when my name got called out. So usually it's your name, your occupation, a joke about your occupation is when they announce it, and where you're from. Mine was Marcus Schultz from Caboolture. That was it. Because I wrote owner of Breathe Health Clubs. These comps are run by other gym owners. Yeah, so I didn't place. I didn't place in either category. So apparently it was my posing, and I wasn't big enough for one category and I was too big for another, and I wasn't lean enough. I was like, okay, right. And that kind of turned me off bodybuilding from there. So I might do another comp, but honestly, it's more so just see how lean I can get. I might just do one for shits and gigs. And if I fall back in love with it, sweet. But yeah, after that, that's where I got a real sour taste in my mouth. So I got beaten by politics in that one.
Did you meet some good people through bodybuilding, like that you're still close to and stuff?
I never did make friends in that industry. Like I'm not that, like I'm a bit rough around the edges. You know, I'm not here to insult anyone in the industry. You know, there are good people there. Just their personalities, like they don't gel with me. I don't gel with them. I'd rather be listening to music in my headphones in my hoodie by myself. Leave me alone. Don't touch me. Like we're not meant to be friends. I'm competing against you, so I want to beat you. That's just my mentality of it. But everyone's like, the way, like, these are the shit you'll hear backstage. Yeah, bro, you looking so good, bro. Your six pack's looking mad. Like, again, I'm not doing that. That's just how I am. Again, I'm just different. You know, like, you know, they're encouraging each other, I guess. But the way I've viewed it is like, I'm competing against you. Like Arnold Schwarzenegger used to play mind games. You know what I mean? These guys are complimenting each other. But I guess it's cool. It's boosting each other up. Like, and it's just not how I view sport. Maybe I'm the problem. Too serious. But yeah, I don't really think I made any friends in bodybuilding. Yeah, I don't think I made any. Just looked in the mirror a lot though.
So what's your advice to someone that's planning on going into bodybuilding comp that's never done it before?
Posing. Overdo it. It's the most boring shit. Get a posing coach. And if you're going through a nutrition coach, be sure that they actually know what they're fucking doing. Right? Because I'll be honest, 75% of them don't know what they're doing. They don't even have a certificate. Right? And they're going to fuck your body up and fuck you off and say you're the problem and gaslight you. And that's the hard truth about the industry. And I'll cop hate for that, but I don't really care. Right? Because again, that's the industry. That's what it's like. Because he looks good doesn't mean he knows anything. Right? Because right there, you're not buying his looks. Right? You're not buying his training regime. You're buying his his brain, right? And the nutritional path. Again, with your dietary needs. So you just make sure you do reviews. I guess it's going to be one of the biggest decisions if you're getting into that industry. So I've had a horrible coach and it fucked me up. My fucking first comp. So, and my second comp. They're both bad. And then I met a good one, right? Yeah, overdo the research on coaches, right? Because that's going to, most people don't compete after the first because they have a horrible experience, put it that way, with diet, right? And when you're reversing out, so just cut, have fun, right? Have fun out there because you'll look back on it and you're like, fuck, I wish I enjoyed that more. That's what I did because I was too serious. Just trying to enjoy the moment and make sure you do not fuck up your reverse diet. So you got to diet back out of it because your body doesn't know how to, like it's going to grab everything and store it as fat. So you see a lot of people get fat quick. Like 4 weeks later, they're put on 50 kilos. But that's because their body is starving. So it's just storing it because it doesn't know when it's going to eat again. So you got to reverse diet out and reintroduce foods. That, I believe, is the most important part. Because, again, it'll fuck everything. So just reverse diet for 4 or 5 weeks and make sure you've got a good coach that does it properly. And if you can have snacks and stuff like that, like, you know, like if it's adding your calories, grilled or something like that, right before bed. Right, because again, you get the ghrelin hormone. You're eating like Tim Tams or some shit, and you're like, "Fuck it," and you smash it. It's the fucking hormone, right? So, and that's what happens. So, if you go off path and have something that's not in the scheduled eating, which a cheat day, you're still in calories, still works perfectly. you're going to have that fuck it mentality and you're going to crave. You're going to be thinking of foods that you've never even eaten before or you hate. You could hate a food, but you'll crave it because your body's just starving. So when that happens, you go to sleep and that hormone kicks in, you're out. Put yourself in a carb coma, boom, done. So that's another good advice, sleep.
Cool. And another thing that you've done is Muay Thai?
Yeah.
Yeah. Tell us about your Muay Thai.
Yeah, no, it was an experience. Did it for a fair bit. Obviously, growing up, did boxing. Yeah, trained out of Chaos, which I think now Honour. Yeah, had a pro fight. And initially, I had 4 different other debuts. So I had a debut. He dropped out. And the second dude dropped out 4 weeks out of the fight. Yeah, and then the other 2 dropped out third and second. And then I had no fight by fight week. Yeah, some dude goes, I'll take it. And he was fucking like 7-1 or something. Yeah, he's a very experienced fighter compared to me. All right, and again, it plays dividends with experience. So people who have never been in the ring, they won't understand. It's not a street fight. It's not sparring. You know what I mean? It's like even the amateur events is different. Again, you feel like a gladiator, is the easiest way to put it. You feel fucking, it's just a different, it's a drug that you can't fucking, like, that's why you love it, all right? It does feel like a drug. There's nothing else like it. Yeah, I jumped in the ring. Didn't do my fight, well, that way. The way I fight is, again, strategic. Fuck, I just ran at him. I adrenaline dumped. So that's that thing they don't talk about either, adrenaline dumping. So that's what happens when, again, you dump adrenaline and your body strips oxygen out of your blood cells. So, because you're dumping so much adrenaline, people will pass out and stuff like that. So if you see car crashes or motorbike, they'll get up and then they'll just boom, flatten because all the oxygen is stripped out. Yeah, so the first half, I was just pretty much just swinging. At one stage, I had hold of him with my left, just swinging right, like an idiot. So it's like I was street fight, essentially, like a fucking moron. I think I only threw 2 kicks. I was fucking retarded. It's because I wasn't thinking. You know what I mean? I dumped. Yeah. And he knew it was dumping. He knew, he just knew to wait. And he was right. And people mistaken that for cardio. My cardio was on point. It was adrenaline dump. I couldn't even get my arms up, like to the point where I'm like trying to tuck underneath my shoulder. And he was just over top elbows. Oh, shit. Throwing elbows over the top because I couldn't get my arms up. Yeah. And my punches, like that, because there was nothing left in me. Or no oxygen. And just fucking, I got fucking whooped.
But are you able to redeem yourself in another fight or what?
No, I will be. Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. I got some business stuff I got to do. And once that's all done, I'm 100% getting back in there. 100%. And hopefully give it a better crack, eh? So, but I think I fractured eye sockets, broken nose, had a fractured jaw, and 2 days later I went back off to the mines, underground mining. Yeah, sneezed because of the pressure, and blew both my eye vessels. Yeah, underground. Yeah.
So you've done construction too, eh? Are you still in there?
So I've got like a labour hire company and stuff. Yeah. I'm part owner of. Yeah, I used to be part of the union, CFMEU, but the company I was with obviously aren't there anymore, DAOs. If they are, they're fucking small now. After the government's push to get rid of the union before the Olympic Games, the union is probably the best thing in the world, bro. Like, I love the union. There's people that hate it. I've fucking throthed it. It's good for young lads too, right? Or again, you look at their safety. Yeah, sometimes they're over top, but they make sure everyone goes home. All right, and then you look at sites that aren't union. How many of them are getting hurt? How many of them are dying? Second union lost its power. I think within the first week there were 2 dudes dead. And they were pouring concrete next to his body. Yeah. Again, like allegedly, I got that information slightly wrong, but again, that's remember what I heard. There was no safety. You know what I mean? And apparently there weren't enough fucking taps and shit on that site, particular site. Whereas union, it's that or shut down. Simple. Everyone's safety is priority. So I'll vouch for the union every day.
Yeah, I've worked in construction and a lot of job sites that I've worked on. There's been deaths and. I've worked out in the mines and that too, and so I know what the industry's like and the union. You always want to jump on a union site. Mm-hmm. Yeah, you just get looked after there. And
absolutely.
Like, I think I could be wrong, but I think like in the mines, how it's so strict. Everything's so strict. They made it so strict and made it overboard strict. Mm-hmm. To keep the unions out.
I didn't know that, eh?
Yeah,
I didn't know.
That's what I heard. Like, as in that's why
it's easy to sack people too, though.
Yeah.
So, like within mining, you can sack someone. Like everyone. Like when you're in the LV, going out from underground. No one's wearing their glasses and their helmets. But when you need to get rid of people quick, they're gone. Safety breach.
Talking about that, that's how I got done.
Yeah.
I was driving the LV underground over in Argyle.
Yeah, yep.
And I used to taxi people around the LVs, and I'm behind other LVs, and you're going up to a stop point where they had like the boggers operating.
Yep.
And then you have to call up. You know, I'm at this section, wanting to go to this section, and then they say yeah or nay, right?
Yep.
Anyway, there's 2 other LVs in front of me. They've done the call up, and they got the okay to go through. I'm the third one, so I was just like, fuck. Yeah, I'm going through.
Oh, fuck, yeah.
And down there was the shift boss. Hey, LV, who the fuck are you? Going off at me. I get called up after shift, up to the shift boss office, and they fucking ripped me.
Yeah.
I got a warning.
Oh, did you?
Yeah.
Usually straight offside, eh?
I got a warning. Yeah, no, I got a warning for that because I think maybe because of the other 2 LVs.
Yeah.
If I was no one around and I didn't call up, probably that.
Yep.
And then, I end up getting the sack like on the next one.
Oh, they were looking for it then.
Yeah.
They were looking for it.
Yeah.
But that's where they're bad.
Yeah, we haven't missed anything.
I've only just got one thing for the young flat people. That's it, right? As you guys have learned throughout this, obviously I've had a very colourful life so far. It's only get more colourful, I'm assuming. When you are feeling like mentally fucked, talk. Right, whether you're one of the boys, you're fucking old man. Like, I didn't have that privilege, the old man to talk to. I didn't have that because we don't get along, right? And I did just have myself, right? But again, if you're in a privileged situation to have a yarn, do it, 100%. And then, but also in saying that, don't play on it. I'm a big believer in that. There's a certain line, and society has seemed to have moved it. If you're sad, unfortunately, be a man. Sort your shit out, work. Again, and then talk about it. Don't not stop working and just talk about your feelings, right? Like you got young men, be men, right? You got a job to do, but also though it's okay to seek help. You know what I mean? Yeah. That's probably the biggest thing. In that, don't give a fuck what anyone thinks. And if you want to do something within business or professional footy, whatever, do it. That's it. The biggest lie that in the world is that you can't. Yeah. Simple as that. The brain is an amazing thing.
Love that.
That's all.
If your younger self was listening to this, what would you tell him? What advice would you give him?
Fuck. Stop hating yourself. Right. Probably that. I think I'd have a better way of handling it, I guess. Like it's technically speaking, like I still do. Like I've got the biggest, the lowest self-esteem, but the biggest ego God ever created. I feel like that resonates with me. But in saying that, because of low self-esteem, I'll be honest, I don't really like myself. I don't like myself in my skin. So I'd probably tell younger me, give him a hug, give myself a hug, tell him he's all good. Probably tell him he's loved unconditionally. And that's it really. Tell him he's loved unconditionally, even, lie to him even, so he feels it. Probably about that, yeah.
That's perfect.
Yeah.
Thank you for that.
That's all right.
Thanks for being here today and sharing your story and everything that you've achieved and what you've been through and all the haters and all the hardship and all the challenges, and you've just soldiered through it as a true man. And I love your attitude, your mindset, just to fuck everything else and just keep going and do what you want to do and build your dream in your gyms, and that's awesome, man. So thanks, Marcus. Thanks for everything.
Thank you guys for having me.
Cheers.
Thank you.
Later.
Nice.